Hi everyone, welcome to the Eindhoven Innovation Café. Thank you for being here. Welcome to everybody watching online as well. For those who haven't been here before, we are a weekly networking event where we offer presentations on the subjects of tech, design and knowledge. Today we have Tom Kortbeek here from Fillip Studios talking about his latest project, which will also be exhibited at the Dutch Design Week this year. And afterwards we'll also have the opportunity to have some drinks at the bar. So let's get the floor to him first.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Tom Kortbeek, and I'm the co-founder of Fillip Studios. And Fillip Studios is an art and design studio based in Arnhem, which is a city in the eastern part of the Netherlands. And our mission statement is to create impact through wonder. And we want to do that because we believe, if this also thing believes in it, that progress starts with wonder. And it can be a thing that you are very fascinated about, and you want to know more about it and know every detail. So you're wondered about something and you want to innovate and create something new, or you are very frustrated about something and think about for yourself, why in the hell in the world is this going on like this? So we have to change it. So we say every progress, innovation starts with wonder. And we created a process to create impact through wonder, and it's about 3 steps. So it starts with wonder from ourselves, but also the wonder that we want to create to make an impact with. And impact always starts with an art piece or a design piece that we want to exhibit. And we hope that people, when they look at it, also are wondered about it. And maybe they will also be starting a creation process in their minds. And maybe when they go home on their bikes, then they think, well, tomorrow when I wake up, I will do something a slightly bit different. And then we created this vicious circle towards wonderment, creation, impact, and hopefully it turns out for the good. So this is a very small process, but it can lead towards unexpected results. And we have done that a couple of times. So I will show you a couple of projects about that very short, and then I will go into depth to the project that I'm actually here about today, Arabidopsis Symphony. But first, a bit of what we've done in the past. You can divide this into 2 things that we do, so to say. On the one hand, we create artistic concepts. On the other hand, we do what we call design research, and that's always in collaboration with scientists and other companies from other industries. This is a slide. We call it the ego slide. So we've been somewhere. Some people have said something nice about us. These are the logos of these organizations. This is one of the example projects that I wanted to talk about. Is Tactile Orchestra. It's a big wall of fur or textiles. And if you stroke the textile, then music will come out of it. And if you stroke it with multiple hands and multiple people, a full orchestra can be heard. So you can explore the whole orchestra by touching. And it was a nice art piece also for us. We've been to New York. We've been on the front page of the New York Times together with the Pope and Prince William. It was very nice. A nice trio. But it also was the start of a product that we created called Cozy, which is a product, a pillow that when you cuddle with it, you will hear your favorite music. So, and our focus group was elderly with dementia who cannot live at home anymore, to give them the feeling, the sense of home, when you cannot live at home anymore. So it started out with an art piece. We used the technology in collaboration with healthcare institutions, and it ended up with an innovative healthcare solution. Another example is Ira Fabrica, which started out as an experiment where we inflate 3D printed shapes. And just as a thing that we were fascinated about, marshmallows in a vacuum chamber. You can look it up on YouTube. It's a very funny video, and my co-founder Roos wanted to replicate this thing with 3D printed objects. But then a whole process started, because it was an art piece. It was in multiple museums around Europe. But we also found some promising technologies, also because it inflates by heating it up. But if you reheat it again, it will shrink again back to the original form. So then it comes into a very promising position to be implemented in maybe an innovative project. So, and what we are working on right now is this. It's a Basarium, and that's a tool for women who are suffering from organ prolapses. Over 2 million women in the Netherlands are suffering from organ prolapses. It's a very unknown problem, and the Basaria which are used at the moment are not fitted, because of course every body is different, and we hope together with the Radboud University Medical Center, we hope to come up with a solution where we can implement our technology into a health tech or medtech solution. And another example is Adaptable Outstatics. And that was a funny, it is a nice project, but it was a funny way how it started, because we met a professor from the Technical University of Eindhoven, Kees Storm, and he showed us this, not this, but this. Can you maybe press play? Yeah, so this is an auxatic structure, and an auxatic structure is a structure that when you stretch it in width, it also grows in length, which is a kind of a counterintuitive process in material, because normally when you stretch it in length, it will shrink in width. And Kees has, with his group, created a machine learning algorithm that can generate random generated auxatic structures. So there's as a low repetitive pattern in this unity cell that you see here in the square. But if you stretch it, it will shrink on all dimensions, or it will enlarge in all dimensions. So he was very proud of creating this machine learning tool, but hadn't any clue, or less, a very low clue of what to do with it. So he reached out to us, or we reached out to each other, and start thinking, what can we do with this? So we started working, and we made this digital tool into a physical object that we are now going to present in September at the Jan Kuhne Museum as an art piece. But this development also followed into an innovation, because we made it into a tube, and then it already start looking like maybe a stand. And we are now exploring this together with the biomedical department of the Technical University Eindhoven to create this into an innovative type of stand which can keep your blood vessels open when it's needed. And it's very promising, because it should have, the idea is that it, because it's non-repetitive, it's far more robust than the traditional stands, which when one leg is broken, the whole structure will collapse. Because it's non-repetitive, it will be more robust and stays in shape. So again, an example for an artistic research. It's a project that started out as an artistic research and ends up in a promising, innovative solution. Last project of the what I wanted to show you is that we are working on right now. It's Makoas. It was on this on exhibit in the last Dutch Design Week last year, and it is a project together with Omlab, which is also a creative studio in Arnhem. And in this project, we want to use sewage sludge to prevent the negative effects of nitrogen deposition on nature. So we use the calcite that is found in sewage sludge to create objects, and they let loose of these calcite over time. And calcite is a very good source for reducing the effects of nitrogen on nature. And you probably all know that's a very big thing in the Netherlands right now. But I want to talk to you especially today about Arabidopsis Symphony. It's a project that we're going to launch during Dutch Design Week, but it's also a co-production that we're doing with Eindhoven Design District, so we're fascinated about that. And I want to give you a little bit of insight of how it started 6 years ago and where we are right now. So, the start. It started out in 2016, actually, but with an article that we read in the newspaper, because at that time there was in the Netherlands you have every 4 years a round of subsidies where the national governments give for 4 years a subsidy to big cultural institutions. And in this fact there are two symphonic orchestra in the eastern part of the Netherlands called Het Gelders Orkest and Het Orkest van het Oosten. And the subsidy provider said, okay, you can keep your subsidy, but you have to collaborate together. So, and for your knowledge, a symphonic orchestra houses approximately 60 people. So 120 people is a lot to take care of. So we were joking in our studio, it would be very nice or far more cheaper if we could get 120 plants, create music. It would be far less money costing than 120 people. So we start joking, but then after that we start experimenting. So then you attach a plant to an Arduino and try to see how that will work out, if you can then tap into some kind of a current and create a sound, and we started doing things. But on the same time, this guy, so I'm not the guy, I'm the guy in the back, but in the front, this is Professor Sander van der Kool, and he's a plant physiologist from the Wageningen University. He was also looking into the same direction, but from another directive, because he was working with plants and he was fascinated about music. So he thought, I'm doing things with plants, and I wanted to tell people in a more intuitive way about the dynamic plant life that I'm seeing every day. But yeah, I will show you a bit how he normally does that with peers. It's pretty understandable. So maybe he said, I love music, can I do it maybe in that way? And we get together because also my co-founder Roos knew him and he connected to me, so we started working. And to tell you a bit about, so this was our idea. How to experience the dynamic life of a plant? Because when we as a human being look at a plant, it's very static. It's there probably also tomorrow if you give it a bit of water, but it stands still. But that's not the truth. If you look closely inside the plant, it's full of direct responses to its environment. If you will tumble it over, you'll see it on a molecular or cell genome level, it's a very direct response because all of the synapses are going on, and it's a very dynamic life, but on a very different scale. So we had to translate that into something that also we as a human being can experience. So we started working. A little bit of a background of how Sander works. So he's a plant physiologist, so he looks at genes and hormones in plants. And he does that by a very smart way, actually, because he extracted the gene of a firefly that makes a firefly light up and puts that into the plant and connects that to the genes that he wants to measure. So, for example, you have something like the clock gene, which gives the plant knowledge of the day and night rhythm. So when the clock gene is going on, the plant will give light. Very faintly, of course, and so he measures that with a very high resolution camera, and then you get movies, or it's actually a time lapse of pictures for every 15 minutes, so this is a time lapse of 48 hours, and it looks like this. This. So you see the plant in infrared lights up because the clock gene on a very repetitive motion is lighting up. And you see also the leaves moving, but that's not the wind. I was first expecting that to be, but it's the leaf growth. And the leaf grows in the plant always in this kind of motion because first the cells grows here and then the cells grows here. This leaves is, when you do it in a time lapse, moving like this. So, and then you can do, and when you do you have this, and you do a pixel tracking thing, and then you end up with this. And we are seeing a lot of numbers, but when Sander looks at this, he sees a whole world emerging. And he's looking at this dynamics, and he's very fascinated, and it's really nice to look at him when he looks at this. But for us, of course, it's still numbers. And he said, oh yeah, but I can also turn it into this. And then that was the first step that we thought, okay, now we see graphs and we see things going up and down, and it starts to emerge. There's already starting a bit of a dynamic emerging that we also, as a non-scientific plant physiologist, can understand. So we started out with this and tried it first to recreate the experiments that Sander does for ourselves with a very low-tech Raspberry Pi, normal RGB camera, to maybe recreate some of the data so that we also can use it for ourselves. And we try to give sound to the data. So this is a visual program language that we use. And so this is the same video, but now with the first raw music version that we created out of the data. This is, I think, 2017 first step. Yeah, so a bit trivial, of course. It's MIDI, and we put it connected to a synthesizer piano, and yeah. Because we are humans and we listen to the sound and then you call it music, but okay. Then you can debate it if it's nice or not, or beautiful or not, but it's the first step. So the next step then we tried to create it not from synths, but to real musicians. And also stretch it a bit and use different genes and create some kind of a composition, and also give it to a string quartet and see where we got there. So this is already 2018. With the opening of the In Science Festival, which is a science movie festival in Nijmegen, and we did a small concert at the opening there. But first I skipped a step. This was a Orchestra installation, we wanted to learn how it works. So we created living plants and we monitored that, and we also made it into an interactive installation. So people could, like some kind of a DJ, really add effects and work with the sound and create their own soundscape by adding genes and like an audio effect, like you do pitch or you do reverb on a DJ installation. So that was a step in between. And this was what I was talking about. So the first step was a synthesizer piano. The next step is a piece that was played by a string quartet. Small snippet. So we were really liking this, the heading that this was going, and we thought, okay, the next step would be a big symphonic orchestra, so that we could create and maybe also travel around the world with a full orchestra with a tour, and we arranged it. We got the money already, so we could get started. And then COVID happened, so that was a very big setback. And we had to reschedule our plans because it was not doable anymore to travel around the world with a big group of people, creating a big hall where people came together and listened to live music. So we had to rethink that. So we get back to the concept. And we reshaped the question a bit because we wanted to be, just as the previous question, also in form and shape, and also in production, be more dynamic, because maybe that's what these times asks to us. So we've rephrased the question a bit: how can we use digital technology to create a physical experience? So we still wanted to create this dynamic surrounding, and we still, as a studio, also believe in the creation of physical impacts, physical experiences, but we wanted to use digital technology also to enhance maybe this experience and also be more flexible in the production. So we got back to the graph that I showed before, to this dynamic shape, and what you see here are different genes reactions in this 48 hours of the life of a plant. So are the GI, TOC, LHY, and PRR gene. So you have to believe me, they are very important genes in a specific period of the lifetime of the Arabidopsis, which is the plant that we are talking about. And we took this as our baseline. A baseline for creating music. So this is for people who know Ableton, which is a musical production software, which is really nice because you can really make a connection towards data. So that's what we were doing. So we created instruments, we created sound effects, we created melodies, we created harmonies, we created rhythmical patterns, all based on the scientific data. Of course, we assembled an orchestra, the same orchestra that we wanted to use before, but now in a box, so to say. And the nice thing was that we also wanted to create a physical experience. So we wanted to create a feel of plants where you can walk through and you will hear the music. And we thought it would be nice if all the things that you will see and hear and experience are based upon the same data, the same dynamic expression. So also in the generation of the plants, the visual plants that you will see are built with generative methods, all based on the same graphs and dynamics and data that the music is also based upon. So every plant that you will see in the experience will look different because it's generated over and over again based on the same data. So you see a bit of a first tutorial steps that we made. Left you see the data, and you see every time you try it different, it will grow in a generative way. And also this is based upon a generative model that is made by the Wageningen University. Yeah. All right. Yeah, and this is a kind of exploration, because if you can remember the first movie that you saw, the lining up of the plants, because it really gives an insight in where in the plants these genes will react and where the genes have an effect. So also we wanted to recreate this so that also it's really visual, intuitively clear that certain genes have certain effects on different spots in the plants. And we wanted to use, in this case, this is point cloud design. So we wanted to explore and to see how we could use this. This is a movie of a variety of options that we researched. So, and this is actually where we are now. Arabidopsis Symphony. It is a musical composition based, connected to an augmented reality experience. So at some place in time, and in this case during Dutch Design Week, and also a couple of months after that at Wilhelminaplein, you can walk towards a pillar, you open it up on your device, and you see a whole field of Arabidopsis Thaliana, which is the plant, growing and creating music, and you can walk through this field of plants and experiencing the dynamic life of the plant. So it's a field of virtual plants on a specific physical location. So you can only open it on a specific spot, in this case the Wilhelminaplein. And it also will take into account daily weather and climate effects. because on every day, because the plants are growing every day, generative, the music and the plants will look and sound different. The Arabidopsis, of in Dutch the zandraket, grows for approximately 6 weeks. So one exhibition, one musical composition, one experience will also take 6 weeks and will sound different in the morning, in the day, in the evening, when it rains, when the sun is shining, when it's cloudy, and on every spot it will be unique because every day of sunshine, every day of rain will have a different effect on the plants that are growing and on the music that they are creating. And that's what we want to achieve with this project. So life-size plants to invite you to explore and experience the dynamic plants of a plant, because that's what we believe. If we are telling you that plants and nature and environmental issues are important, then you probably will know. But if you can experience it, then you will really understand and hopefully care a bit more. So I'm going to show you first, a preview of what it probably can and will look like, will sound like, and then I will end the presentation how you nowadays will end a presentation. So, the takeaways, it's very important. If you want to see it, come to the Wilhelminaplein during Dutch Design Week from October 2022. We will open there, and after that be present there for a couple of months, so you can come back every day. If you can't make it, you can afterwards go to Vienna, Atlanta, San Diego, Barcelona and Anchorage, because we will from then on be there until 2023 with this installation. And maybe if you know some nice spot, or if you have a company or organization that is interested and maybe you feel that this installation fits to your brand story, you can reach out. And one thing that I wanted to discuss, because it's this meetup is called Eindhoven Innovation Café, and I wanted to make a small remark about design, because that's what we're doing. Apply design in your strategy and not in your tactics. And it's about the thing that we see that in other industries, design is used mostly at the end of a process. So we wanted to do marketing, we wanted a website, and then we wanted to look nice, so we asked a designer to make it look nice. Or we made a new product, and we wanted to also make it aware to a large audience. Okay, we asked a designer to create a poster. And that's a pity, because the most innovative companies, the best earning, profitable companies are using designers in the beginning as a strategy, because then you can create new things. And I hope that I also showed with the projects in the beginning that when you start just by creating a wonderful idea, a wonderful piece, it will always turns out nice, and can also turn out into a very nice, innovative, world-changing idea. And to maybe structure that a bit, we created a lab called PyLab together with Fontis and TUE and also Design Academy. And our dream, our goal is to create the MIT Media Lab that you have in the States, but we wanted to create it here, a version of it here in Eindhoven, because we believe all the ingredients are here, artists, designers, scientists, technologists, to create this wonderful environment. We want to build this together with companies, together with institutions, to create an environment where design can be a strategy and not only a tactic. So if you're interested to join, what we can do for you, please reach out. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think so.
Yes, I'll be walking around for people
yeah.
asking you questions, so it's
Great.
audible on the live
Oh,
stream.
okay.
There you go.
Actually, I have two questions. And the first question is, could you use it also with a HoloLens? Like a HR experience?
Probably. We now are focusing on creating this experience for Dutch Design Week, which is focusing on smart devices that you can carry around. But I can believe that we can port it into also other devices, but
Okay.
yeah, not yet, but yeah.
Okay. And I have another question that's about, is it maybe you told it on forehand, but I came in later. Is it a real-time experience? Like the plants are growing and at the same time you see the experience, and are the plants then physically at the space where the people are walking around?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so the experience is real-time, and the generation of plants is as real-time as possible. It's a bit of a technical answer now, but we have to deal with, we hoped that everyone has the iPhone 13 Pro, but that's not possible. So we have to deal with we wanted to make an abroad as impact as possible so that it will play on every device. So it is as real time as possible. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So this timing aspect is, I think, very interesting because, as you mentioned, plants are in a different time domain than us humans. So I'm more interested in to learn more about your process. These samples you play, they are correlated to occurrences in this time series. Huh?
Yeah.
And they are triggered by something goes above a certain threshold, or you see a certain pattern. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought about making the actual variation we see, for instance, in the concentration of these substances audible? And compress it maybe? Because for the plant, things are happening over longer time periods, so you should maybe compress it for humans.
Yeah.
So this would be against the real-time experience, of course, but it's maybe more the exchange between the plant world and the human world than when you...
Yeah, that's something we have to deal with, of course. For us, it feels like a real-time experience, so the music is developing in real time. But on the other hand, we also, in the creation of the choices that we made, we also use data and compress it in time. For example, the generation of harmony and rhythmical patterns, they are based on, for example, the time lapse. So it's a hybrid version, so to say. What we wanted to do in the first place, actually, to see if it was possible to create a jam session between a human musician and a plant. But we were confronted with this fact that they live in a different time and space, so to say. So their experience of time and the way they react on it, it's slightly different than the human.
And did you analyze the data looking for musical patterns? Like, did you try to find scales or?
Yeah. Actually, we did that based upon the experiments that Wageningen University is doing. What they are doing, for example, is this clock gene. I mentioned it on before. They wanted to see what the effect is on the plant and how the plant deals with a disruptive environment. So they build a closed a box where they regulate light in a 12 hours up, 12 hours down situation. So the plant is getting used to a 12-hour night-day rhythm. and then at some point they are, is that me? No. They switch and they turn it around. So then it's 12 days down and 12 days up. And so the plant has to reconfigure itself to this new environment, and you see a direct response in this clock gene, because at first it's a very nice rhythmical pattern, so to say, and then they turn it around, and you see it has to readjust itself to its new environment, and you see it in the graph and in the data, and it will create a new state of a new normal, so to say, and if you translate that to music, then you have a very nice, and given the fact so that they do it not only with one plant, but with a whole family of plants at once. And if you create this, if you use this as a basis for creating rhythms, then you get a really nice shifting rhythmical patterns afterwards and besides each other, because you see all these, you will hear all these individual plants coping with the new environment that they have to deal with. So that's, I don't know if this is a bit of an answer to your question, but that's how we used the scientific data and the scientific experiments also to translate it into musical elements.
So the change in frequency of the plant was a change in pitch.
Yeah.
In your music, and then you have several plants, so you have several pitch changes, and that creates, maybe not a melody, but a rhythm.
Yeah, rhythm, but also melody, harmonies are structured in such a way that within a given harmony section you have a couple of 7 steps, and to make it not too complex, which you can take, and then you can divide also the values into several sets and shift from one harmony to another when it's when a plant reaches a certain, or a gene reaches a certain threshold, for example. So that's how we dealt with those problems, and we try to connect all the things in a logical way, from the function of a gene in the plant to the function that, for example, harmony has in music.
So you try to match the plant time series to human harmonies.
For example.
You didn't find plant harmonies, so to speak. Or did you look for that even?
Yeah. That was also a discussion that we had also in our team, because there's also really a big field of what you call sonification. Mm-hmm. So that's more a direct tap into, for example, the first experiment what we did is what you can call sonification. So you tap a current, and if you tap a plant, then the current also changes, and then you can hear that into a pitch. We did that. But it was also our goal to really make a step from sound to music. So that's also, we wanted to change that, because we felt that we really wanted to create because we started out with this idea of the symphonic orchestra, we really want to make a suite or a symphony. And so we wanted to step away a bit from only sound and the direct explanation, but also try it into functions, into musical functions that can be played by an orchestra. So our hope is, at the end of this project, that we have a composition that is created by plants and can, at the end, also can be created in some kind of an arrangement, can be played by a human orchestra. That would be nice. That's our hope. Hopefully. Can be done. Okay.
I have a question. So those are, no matter you use plant to produce music, a piece of music, or the eventual is a growing, it's a virtual growth observation. Let's say, but those are your approach. Your goal is to bring humans to take care of nature and care more about the plants and also the nature. So because I'm doing also similar project with a similar vision to you, but I'm curious. So how do you promise that in the end people are not fascinated about the technology, the cool technology, and how you promise that people will do care about the plants instead of technology, because I think technologies will, because so far my research finding is that why people are not empathetic about plants and also nature is because we lack of direct interaction with plants. So, and if we use technology as solutions, then we may risk so technology will, in the how to describe? Technology will in the middle of plant and human. So then we still don't have direct interaction with plants. So how you? So I'm stuck in this point now. So I also would like to know your ideas.
The short answer is you can't.
Yeah.
So you can't make this promise. And of course I did this in the end of the presentation with nice slides. So if you know, then you tell. If you understand, then you care. Of course, because I like the strong emphasis of the words. But the short answer, of course, you can't. Because you cannot prevent people experiencing the installation, and maybe they're only fascinated about the augmented reality technology. That's not a thing that we can control. We hope, of course, that and we can create the surrounding as much as possible, that people feel safe and feel connected to the things that they see, and that they take time to really dive into the sound and the music that they will hear, and that they will discover that it's not only one plant, which is just a nice thing on the phone and then go on, but that they really can discover the music. And so we were working on that to maybe create a tour, a guided tour, so that you can have a bit of a background, and then in a group maybe feel more safe to take time to explore the whole installation. So we're working around this, but it's not a thing that you can prevent, and that's also a thing that we don't want that to happen. Our belief is that we can, as a design studio, we create spaces to explore. So for example, the first project, it's Tactile Orchestra. It's a big black wall of textile, and you can and it does nothing if you are not doing anything. So you have to make a connection to it. So we created some kind of a framework where you can create your own experience. But how you can experience and how long you are able to create this experience, it's not up to us, because we cannot control it. So that's what our goal is, not to give answers, but to provide a framework where you can create your own experience and maybe try to understand things. And we hope, of course, that your final idea about the things that we have done will come to as close as the main goal that we wanted to achieve. But yeah, there will be also, of course, a lot of people who are only seeing a cool gadget and a cool looking point cloud plant with nice sounds, and then say, okay, nice, let's have a drink at the terrace at the Wilhelminaplein. Which is, I would say, fine, a pity maybe, but it's not a thing that you can prevent. And the other thing you said about technology, I thought that maybe you were saying that technology is also the way to prevent the connection towards nature. The idea a bit about, but now becomes a bit philosophical, but the idea also which this project is based upon is object-oriented ontology. I don't know, it's maybe a nice philosophy also to dive into, because it really tackles this problem. And it says in short that by using art or using a creative object, it lets you become part of the things that you see. And I'm not doing this any justice, this philosophy right now, but it's a way to describe the process that is going on when you see an object, then you become the object, and while becoming the object, you can only understand it fully. And so it explains why art sometimes can explain big problems in a better, intuitive way than just reading a paper about it. But it's just a nice philosophy to dive into if you want to tackle and deal with these problems. And again, the short answer is you can't. Okay.
A tool to show something is happening inside the plant. And the music can connect people, maybe can connect people with the plant, because plants are affected to music too. And then the technology can be saw as a tool.
Yeah.
To see something we cannot see with our eyes.
Yeah.
And I would like to say congratulations for your work, for your creativity. And I would like to ask you, why did you choose this specific plant?
This plant? Yeah. Halfway the presentation, I said Arabidopsis, and then I thought, I didn't mention why we use Arabidopsis, but I thought then I go on and probably, hopefully, someone would ask it. Thank you. Because Arabidopsis Thaliana, it's the plant that's most commonly used in plant science, because it's a very simple, so to say, plant. It's well documented and it grows very fast, from hatching to senescence in 6 weeks. So it's a very useful plant to do a lot of experimenting on. So they also say it's the lab rat from plant science. And it's a nice plant. In Dutch it's called the zandraket, sand rocket, because it grows very fast and lives on sandy grounds. And it's been everywhere. It's been in space, to the ISS space, and it's been on the North Pole, South Pole, everywhere. So it's also really a frontier plant. But we use it because it's used in plant science. Yeah.
Perhaps a crazy question. They've tested a lot different types of music with animals. Have you tested, or could you have an influence on the younger plants if you play them the music or sound waves from the older plants?
No, we didn't do that. No, there's of course, that's also another realm of science, so to say, about the effects of music on plants, but we didn't want to go into that because we really wanted to have the plant as a generative tool of music, of a dynamic life, and we really want to make this human-plant connection. So no, we didn't do that, but yeah, it's also interesting, of course. Yeah.
Right, thank you so much for this presentation, and for your wonderful project. Congratulations with it. I think we're all very curious about it at the Dutch Design Week, so thank you. I suggest we carry on the conversation at the bar. We'll provide some snacks and you're free to get any drinks. We also have a dinner at the meetup table for €19.50, so let me know if you are interested in staying for dinner. Next week, we will have Mentec here talking about their health technology, and check out our website for the most up-to-date program. But thank you for being here and have a nice evening.